She had to cover that 9 time zones, then 6 checkpoints, 3 water bodies, and at least many ecospheres also. Fine. So after crossing all these things, then she was able to reach to this place, that is Antarctica. Now, in order to study about the planet, about any particular planet, or the past, present, and the future of a planet, Antarctica is the best place. The narrator says that Antarctica is the best place in order to study the past, present, and future of a planet, that is Earth. Now, how can we study? For example, as I told you yesterday also, like if the ice will be melting, will start melting at Antarctica, obviously that will be because of the human activities on this Earth. Fine. Because of our activities, the Earth will start melting. Fine. So now the author, she says that when she visited this place, Antarctica, she found that at that time there were no footprints of human arrival. Human beings, at that time they did not go to this place. It was not frequently visited because it was very cold, and the ice was also there, the blocks of ice, the sheets of ice was there, and it was very, very cold, and it is a difficult, tiresome journey also. It's not easy thing for every person to reach to this place also, right? So that is why human footprints or marks were not there. Fine. So now she says that she moves into the past also. Like we are studying about Antarctica. So how Antarctica took place, how it was formed. See, earlier in the beginning, when like the Earth, it was a land mass, like it was a supercontinent, and the supercontinent was Gondwana, right? So the supercontinent Gondwana was there, and slowly, like under the Earth's surface, like different activities were going on. The expansion was there, the extinction was there, and vibrations. So many activities were going on under the Earth's surface, and because of that, the parts of the Earth, they started drifting, separating into different corners, and that is what we can see now today, the shape of the globe, right? We can see India, America, Australia, South America, everything that has taken, that is there on the globe. That is because of the human activities. Now further she says that Antarctica is a very, very cold place, and as I told you yesterday also, Antarctica is such a place where 6 months are days and 6 months are nights. And Dishani, though she is such a person, she is a worshipper of sun, like Jethalal, I told you, like in the, Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma. Jethalal, he is early morning, he comes out in his balcony and he worships Lord Surya. So in the same manner, she is also the worshipper of Lord Sun, and it is not possible. So as she cannot see Sun there, as I told you yesterday also, because of the 6 months night. So that could be difficult also. So, but even then, we have to manage it according to these circumstances and the situations also. So later on, it was decided, and she further says that moving into Antarctica, walking over there, it is just like walking into a ping pong ball, because it will be like the you'll be moving on the ice surface, so it will be moving into the water, so obviously it will be jumping, you will be moving in this manner. There in Antarctica, there are the different varieties of flora and fauna. There are the different varieties of animals also, like starting from microscopic animals to the very, very large animals like blue whales also. Midges and mites can also be found there, then the blue whales can be found. So this means there is a large variety of flora and fauna. Why so? Because at that time, the Antarctica, that place was not at all disturbed because of the human activities. So Antarctica remains sacred, we can say it remains sacred, it remains fresh, clean, it would remains untouched also. And so like okay, so we have completed till this. Now I'll be starting from here, human impact. Before moving further, I would like to show you some pictures so that you'll be able to, I told you yesterday also, I'll be sharing a few pictures with you so that you can see, and you will love those pictures. So I'm sharing, just a second. Fine. So here, like in this picture, first picture, you can see the beautiful, the nature is so very beautiful, but because of our activities, still you can see in this picture, the human beings, they are standing, taking they are viewing the beautiful things that are there in the nature. Like the mountains, they are covered with the ice, and the water is there. You can see that is also there is the ice sheet is also there. You can see in this first image. Then here you can see this iceberg is there on the this river. It is floating over there, and it is also a beautiful image that soothes our eyes. Here also, like as I told you, like in Antarctica, penguins are there, seals are also there. So you can see in this picture, the ice sheet is there, fine, and the penguins are there. They are enjoying because the human beings have not disturbed their environment. Yeah, the beautiful image is there. Like these penguins, they are talking to each other, playing, enjoying here. So this is also a very beautiful image of Antarctica. They're communicating with each other. It seems as if the two penguins, they are talking to each other, and the baby penguin is also is interested to share his or her views in this picture. Fine. So these are the beautiful images that are of Antarctica, and that is only because we human beings have not disturbed them. So now I'm starting from page number 20 and human impact. Now see, as I told you that because of our activities, we have destroyed the environment, we have disturbed the nature also. As you've studied in class 11th also, the ailing planet, the planet was suffering because of our human activities. So what is the impact? Impact means what is the impact of human beings, what we have done to the nature. Human civilizations have been around for a paltry 12,000 years, barely a few seconds on the geological clock. In that short amount of time, we have managed to create quite a ruckus, etching our dominance over nature with our villages, towns, cities, and mega cities. Yesterday I told you, like as according to the Christian mythology also, like earlier on the earth surface, human beings were not there, and later on what happened, Adam and Eve, they came on the earth surface, and slowly the human civilization, the population, it started. So now see, earlier human beings were not there, so it was quite a good place, nice place, clean, pious, pure. But see what happened when human beings, they stepped on the earth surface. What happened? They created quite a ruckus. Ruckus means disturbed, disturbed the peace of this planet, and we have created, so much of destruction also in this on this earth surface, etching our dominance over nature. Etching means making, like we are trying to dominate this nature, this earth surface, because we consider that we human beings are so much intelligent, we have the power on the earth surface. So because of that, the overconfidence, you can say, or pride in ourselves also, we have started dominating the earth surface. And what is happening, that is over nature with our villages, towns, cities, and mega cities. Earlier the population was very less, so there was no need of spreading or cutting the trees, forest, and all these things for our arrival, for our living also. But slowly and slowly the population keep on increasing. So what is happening, like we are cutting the forest, we are making the villages, cities, towns, metros, and all these things. And now we can see, like at one particular piece of land, we are making skyscrapers, that is, we are making tall buildings also, so of so many floors. So we are touching the sky also by our activities. And in this way, what we are doing, we are creating burden on Mother Earth. And so the rapid increase of human populations has left us battling with other species for limited resources. As we have studied in class 11th also in the lesson, The Ailing Planet, about sustainable development. This means that we have limited resources. We can use those resources, but keeping in mind that we are supposed to keep them safely for the future generations also, right? So now see what is happening. The population is increasing, the demand is increasing, but supply is limited because resources are limited on this earth surface. but we human beings, we are increasing. Human population is increasing, so obviously you can understand population is directly proportional to resources. Need of resources was also much more, but that also we must understand that the resources are limited on this earth surface. So obviously we are battling, we are fighting, for the resources with other different species. And obviously we are human beings, so we consider that we have, a much more important role to play as compared to the other animals or different organisms also. And the unmitigated burning of fossil fuels. Unmitigated means the total, you can say. Fine, the total amount of the things that are there, we are burning. The total burning of fossil fuels. Now, fossil fuels, as you have studied in class 9th and 10th also in science, fossil fuels means the fuels that are, created from the so from the past many years. The plants and animals, they remains under the earth surface, and because of the different activities they are converted into fuels. So now we are burning those fuels also, and what is happening? That has now created a blanket of carbon dioxide. Obviously, like, we are causing pollution in nature, like the factories, the industries, like the vehicles also. Fine. So all these fossil fuels, the fuels that we are using, the petroleum, the diesel, everything that we are using, so what is happening? That has created, carbon dioxide. The presence of carbon dioxide is more in nature as compared to oxygen, because see, we are not much concerned in planting more and more trees. We are so much selfish, you can say. We want more and more things from the nature, and we do not believe in giving more things to the nature. We are not interested in returning the things. We believe in the philosophy of taking the things. So that is why what happened, the carbon dioxide, the amount of carbon dioxide has increased in the nature, and which is slowly but surely increasing the average global temperature. As you all know, you are all very smart children. You have so much of media, so much of information booths also. So you all are aware that because of all these activities, the temperature of the earth surface is also increasing, and that is, we can say that global warming is happening. And see, that is why, like, it's not sure that in which month the rain would fall. And that is why, because of our activities, we are, again and again hurting the earth surface with our activities. So that is why the temperature is increasing, the global warming is happening, temperature is increasing. So all these things, they are only because of our impact on the earth surface, and that is, the impact is also negative. And because of that negative effect also, students, today we can see, today the scenario is because of our efforts, what we did in the past now, what our ancestors, you can say, what we did in the past. Because of that, the present day generation, they are suffering because of the corona and all these things we can see in the nature. So now climate change is one of the most hotly contested environmental debates of our time. Like, as I told you, that we have disturbed the nature, and because of that, what is happening? The global warming is there, and at Antarctica the ice sheet is melting. Fine, because of global warming, because of climate change. So like, here also, climate change is also a very important topic, and that is debatable also. We debate on this topic, that the climate change is happening, because we are not sure. Like, for example, I would say here, like, earlier it used to be like these particular vegetables would be found in this particular month, but now it's not happening. Every vegetable is found in every month. It can be arranged in any particular month. Why? So because we are not purchasing the fresh vegetables, we are taking them like these are the stored products. Fine. And they do not have that taste also as it used to be in the past. So the things are changing, the scenario is changing, because of the climate change also. And will the West Antarctica ice sheet melt entirely? And see, we can imagine the situation. See, because of our activities, we are creating so much of pollution. Like, these days, the pollution is not there on the earth surface. Why? The vehicles are not there. The industries and the factories are closed, so that is why pollution is not there. And we can see the clear, beautiful sky also, blue sky also. And see, in class 20th this year, you'll be studying a beautiful poem also, Keeping Quiet. You know, there's a beautiful poem is there, and there the poet says that we have harmed the nature, so we should keep quiet for some time. And that particular poem, when you'll study now, you will understand that that is quite relatable in the present scenario, because the poet is advocating that we should meditate for a while. We should not talk to each other. We should be silent, and we should introspect, like what we have done to ourselves, to nature, and then the mutual understanding will develop among the human beings. That is a beautiful poem, so we'll study. So now here, what is happening? See, if the Antarctica ice will melt entirely, then what will happen? Obviously, its effect will be on the complete Earth's surface also. And so will the Gulf Stream ocean current be disrupted? Disrupted means disturbed. So now see, because of our activities, because of our efforts and all these things that we are doing, the impact will be the ice sheet may melt, the Gulf Stream, there also it will be disturbed. And will it be the end of the world as we know it? And it may be possible that world may end, because see, for example, if you have seen the movie Kedarnath, there you can see, like there was the, you know, the flood was there, and flood means it was wild, the scenes you can see over there. So the nature is taking its revenge in different manners, by earthquakes, by floods. These are the different methods of taking the revenge, because it's not able, you know, to bear all these things that we are doing. So it could be possible that they would be the end of this world. And you know, earlier it used to be said by people, when it was 2011, people used to say that in 2012 the whole earth will destroy, it will be the end of the civilization. But nothing happened. We are still surviving. We are so blessed, you know. And this is that this time is giving us the lesson also, that we should think of the nature. We should think of we are thinking of ourselves, but we should think of nature also. So if the whole world will end, then what will happen? Will also automatically be end. Maybe and maybe not. It could be possible and it's not, because see, it totally depends on our activities only. Either way, Antarctica is a crucial element in this debate. Now in this debate, which debate? That is, the whole world will end. In this debate, Antarctica is a crucial means a very important element. Why so? Because see, our activities will affect Antarctica, and that is why Antarctica's ice will start melting, and that will be directly proportional, you can say, that will affect the whole world, the whole globe also. So that is why it is interrelated, you can say. Fine. And so Antarctica is a crucial element in this debate, not just because it's the only place in the world which has never sustained a human population. As I told you, sustained means never supported the human population. As I told you earlier also, like Antarctica is such a place where the temperature is very cold, in minus, and it's very coldest place, windiest and driest place. And the flora and fauna is there too much, and the human beings, they have not stepped their feet at this place, because it's not an easy journey, as I told you. And it's not easy to survive also there, because it needs courage to bear that temperature. Fine. Food is also, you can imagine that obviously it would become solid also. Fine. The water is solid, so you can imagine about the other vegetables and the other things. It's not easy to survive. So that is why the author says that it has not sustained, it has never supported human population, and therefore remains relatively pristine in this respect. Pristine means it remained clean, it remained pious, you can say. It remains unaffected also because of the human population. Fine. So that is why it was clean, you can say. Pristine means clean, you can say clear also. It is unspoiled also, you can say. It remains unspoiled because the human population has not reached to that place. Otherwise, if the planet is suitable, we would definitely have reached to that place also. We would have destroyed the environment of that place also, if it could be possible, but it is not possible. That is why still it has maintained the same thing that was there in the past. And so, but more importantly, because it holds in its ice cores 500,000-year-old carbon records trapped in its layers of ice. Now, as I have told you that there the layers of ice are there. There the icebergs are there. I've shown you the pictures also. So they are like from the past many years before. If we think, like obviously on the earth surface we are causing pollution, carbon compounds are there in the nature. So like they are reaching to Antarctica also, and they are trapped, you know, they are trapped in the sheets of ice also there. They are still there. Fine, the carbon compounds are there, and they are trapped in the layers of the ice. And if we want to study and examine the Earth's past, present, and future, Antarctica is the place to go. Underline this statement. It is very important, related to the boards also question paper. Fine. Why it is important? Like for example, if you want to study about Earth's past, present, and future, if you want to study about the planets, present, past, and future, then Antarctica is the best place. So why it is the best place? For this answer, we have discussed all the points, so you will be able to answer. We have studied about the past, we have studied about the present day also, and what will be the repercussions, or what will be the consequences in the past if we'll destroy, if we will destroy the nature. Obviously the Antarctica ice will start melting, and that is going to affect human population also. Fine. So this is a very important question. Only this question can come in 6 marks answer. This is a very important question, first question that I told you. Yesterday, I told you, like the author Tishani Doshi, along with a Canadian, Geoff Green, and some students, they decided to go to Antarctica. Why? In order to study this place, like what is happening over there. Fine. So what is the program? What is the name of the program under which they went to that place? So the name of the program is Students on Ice, right? So now Students on Ice, the program I was working with on the Shokelski, aims to do exactly this by taking high school students to the ends of the world, providing them with inspiring educational opportunities which will help them foster a new understanding and respect for our planet. Yesterday, I told you, those who were not there, maybe they won't understand. So I'm telling for them again. See what happened. The author, Tishani Doshi, along with the Canadian, Geoff Green, they decided to go to Antarctica to study its climate, right? So they decided to go by this Academic Shokelski. Academic Shokelski is a Russian research vessel. That is a ship. Fine. And I have told you, like Tishani Doshi, she had to cross three means. She had to travel by 3 means of transportation to reach to this place. First, she traveled by car, then by an aeroplane, and then she traveled by a ship. That is Academic Shokelski. So the Shokelski is the name of the vessel. That is the ship, right? So now Students on Ice, the program I was working with on the Shokelski aims. Now, what is the aim of this program? The aim of the program is that it has decided that high school students, means the students like the teenagers, like 10th, you can say 9th, 10th students or 11th class students, they'll be taken to this place. So to do exactly this by taking high school students to the ends of the world. As I told you, Antarctica remains at that particular place where it was. Like Gondwana Island, Gondwana, the supercontinent was there. And when the Earth started taking its place, it was drifting because of different activities. Then also Antarctica remained at the same place. That is, it was at the end of the world. And so what happened during this program, the students were taken to different places, such adventurous places where it's not possible for them, for their parents also to take them. So to the ends of the world, and providing them with inspiring educational opportunities which will help them foster a new understanding and respect for our planet. You know, like see students, like as a teacher, I would say that it's teachers' responsibility to teach the students, to guide them, to show them different things. Because see, this is at this age, you people are learning different things, and teachers' task is, you know, to give you something that will churn your brain, and you'll be able to think like, okay, this is also happening in nature, I was not aware. So during this program, the students were taken, and this provided them very good educational opportunities, because they'll be able to study the climate of this place, you know. and that will foster means promote, you can say, or nurture. So that will foster a new understanding and respect for our planet. And when the students will understand the climate of this place, they will have more respect for our planet, they will understand that what we have caused to the nature. And obviously this is our mother, mother nature. So we must have respect, and we should do something good for the nature, because it has provided us so many beautiful things. So we should be thankful also. We must have the feeling of gratitude. It's been in operation for 6 years now, headed by Canadian Geoff Green, who got tired of carting celebrities and retired, rich curiosity seekers who could only give back in a limited way. Now, see, as I told you, that this program, Students on Ice, it was headed by a Canadian. The name of the person is Geoff Green. Fine. So this person, Geoff Green, earlier he used to go to different places, to the ends of the world. Fine, different places he used to go, and during those times he used to take he used to take carting, means carrying cart, as you know, like the bullock cart. Fine, the wooden cart that is added, that is attached with the horse. Fine, so that is the wooden cart. And cart means actually what? Carting means carrying the things. So now this person, Geoff Green, Canadian, who was a Canadian, he used to take these people, who used to carry these people, and whom he has carried celebrities. Celebrities means like the big stars. Fine, the filmmakers, the actors, the actresses. Fine, celebrities means the political leaders also. Fine, great people, those who have achieved lots of name and fame and recognition in the society. So he has taken celebrities along with him, and the retired people also, those who have retired from their jobs, from their professional life, and they are resting. So these people were taken. Then the rich people also, those who can afford good money, so they were also taken. And the curiosity seekers. Curiosity seekers means those people who are inquisitive. Inquisitive, Inquisitive. Inquisitive means those people who are always having so many questions, queries in their minds. They are always asking, like, why this is happening, what is happening, like for everything they have the question. So those curiosity seekers were taken, who could only give back in a limited way. But this person, Geoff Green, he was able to understand that when he had taken all these people, the curiosity seeker, celebrities, retired people, rich people along with him in this program, then what happened? These people, they returned in a limited way. Because see, obviously you can understand, celebrities, they are busy in their life. Their life is very hectic. We feel that their life is so very happy, they have so much of money, name and fame. But we have seen the examples these days, a very bad example that we have witnessed, that it's not easy, to have that life, as the example of Sushant Singh Rajput also. So celebrities' life is not happy, and retired people, obviously, they are also, retired means they are already tired people actually. They have completed their task in the whole life, and they want to live a happy life. So obviously they would not take much efforts in returning back to the society what they have studied in this place, that is Antarctica, because enthusiasm is not there, not much in these people. And the rich people also, rich people will not be affected like what is happening in the society, what is there in the nature, because they have enough money to purchase each and everything. So that is why rich people will not believe in giving back to the nature the things that they have learned at this place. And the curiosity seekers will suffice their needs. They want to know more about their queries, they want to know the answers of their questions, but they would not feel happy in the sharing with other people also. So now see what happened. As this person, Geoff Green, he experienced that when he had taken all these people along with him to the different places, to the ends of the world, it was not good. Because what he wanted through this journey, it's not that he wanted these people to show these places. The task is, he had taken these people so that they would do something in their nature. They would guide the people, they would motivate the students that they should do something for the nature. but he was not getting those results, right? So he changed his idea. So what was done with students on ice, he offers the future generation of policy makers a life-changing experience at an age where they are ready to absorb, learn, and most importantly, act. And now, later on, he decided that he would take the students, high school students, along with him in this journey. Why? Because they are the future generation of policy makers. Because see, for example, like as you know, like you are in class 12th after graduation, like you are having so many thoughts, you are observing the nature, you are have seen 2020, you have seen lockdown, you have seen corona, you have so many ideas, so slowly and slowly, when you'll grow up, when you'll complete your graduation, after that, when you'll go in any particular field, you may become, democrats, you may become bureaucrats, you may become political leaders, you may try to change the scenario. It could be possible. Those are very strong. So you could become the policy makers. Means in future, you would try to change the things that are there in the present times, because these things have been continuing from the past many years. It's the same thing. So there may be a change that obviously with every new generation, obviously the change comes. So that is why this person, Geoff Green, he had taken the students, because they would bring change in the society by their knowledge and life-changing experience at an age where they are ready to absorb. At this age, you people are getting the knowledge, and see, you are what you are doing, you are getting the knowledge and you are absorbing. Actually, fine, you're absorbing that knowledge and you're learning also. And what will happen, like right now you are absorbing the knowledge, you're learning many new things, and slowly, as I told you, when you'll get the chance, when you get the opportunity, when you'll become something in life, when you have the power, then you can implement those things in the nature, you can implement those things in the system also. And as you know, in our country, if we talk about in India, laws are made, and this we have studied in class 11th. Laws are made, fine, but they are not respected, they are not enforced, fine, we do not obey those laws. So that is why we are suffering also, right? So this is clear, I suppose, and later on I'll be taking your doubts also. The reason the program has been so successful is because it's impossible to go anywhere near the South Pole and not be affected by it. As I told you, the climate of this place, that is Antarctica. And so as Geoff Green, along with Tishani Doshi and the high school students, they visited this place. And it was a successful program. And why it was successful? First point, as I told you, it's not possible for the students to move to such place, because the parents obviously would not move to this place, would not undertake such a difficult journey, it's and it would be taking so much of time. It would be, it would need much more money also for crossing these many ecospheres, time zones and everything. So it's not an easy thing. So that is why first thing, it was successful. And second thing is that near the South Pole and not affected by it, means when the students, they returned after completing this journey, they were, means not affected means they were like hale and hearty. It's not like that. Like as I told you, metabolic activities will be affected, because as I told you, there the 6 months nights and 6 months days are there, but still they all were healthy. Nobody was, suffered from any or the other problem. So that is why it was a successful program. It's easy to be blazed about polar ice caps melting while sitting in the comfort zone of our respective latitude and longitude. But when you can when you can visibly see glaciers retreating and ice shelves collapsing, you begin to realize that the threat of global warming is very real. Now see, this program was successful, right? But it's easy to be blazed. Blaze means having indifferent attitude. Indifferent attitude means like we are not at all affected. Like what is happening in the nature, we may have this attitude that why should I bother if something wrong is happening in the nature? And what alone I can do, this is also the mentality, what alone I can do. So what we can do, will develop the indifferent attitude towards the nature. That will not do anything. If nobody else is taking the pains, then why should I take the pain in doing something for the nature? So that will help in developing indifferent attitude, and that is wrong. It's easy to be blazed about polar ice caps. and melting while sitting in the comfort zone of a respective latitude and longitude. Latitude, the vertical lines that you know, longitude, the horizontal lines. So like as we are sitting in our places, fine, there we are sitting in our comfort zones, and when we observe that the ice sheets are melting, then we develop this indifferent attitude towards all these things, then obviously we are selfish. This means that we are not interested in saving the nature. If something wrong is happening, we'll let it happen because it has not touched us. It has not affected us. Till the time, if the things are not affecting us, will not stand, will not take any effort. And so while sitting in the comfort zone of a respective latitude and longitude, but when you can when you can visibly see glaciers retreating. Now see glaciers. Glaciers means the sheet of ice, as I've told you earlier also, that the sheet of ice on the rivers. I've shown you the images also. So the images of the ice that is, retreating, and ice shells collapsing. Ice shells means like the big ice pieces are there. Shells, it's like a shelf. Fine, as we have seen in our houses also, the shelf are there. In the same manner, the ice shells are there and they are collapsing. Collapsing means they are breaking into pieces, and that is a sign of global warming. That is the sign that we must stand on our feet and we must do something for the nature. So ice shells collapsing, and you begin to realize, and at that time we begin to realize that the threat of global warming is very real. Threatening means something that is, harming. The threat of global warming is very real. See, now we are the temperature is increasing and we are not taking care of the nature, the climate change is happening, but we have not seen such a thing, we have not witnessed. So that is why we are simply speaking about the thing. And if the ice sheet will start melting, the glaciers will melt, the ice shells will melt, they will collapse, then we will understand that what we have been talking about, what we had been debating about in the past, now that is real. And if at that moment, if we had taken the measures, then obviously we would not have to face such a situation, right? And so Antarctica, because of a simple ecosystem and lack of biodiversity, is the perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big repercussions. This passage is very, very important, though the whole lesson is very important, but I'm always guiding you about the particular lines also. As I told you, Antarctica has a different ecosystem. Like there are the animals, there are the organisms, microscopic organisms are there, very small. They could not be seen with a naked eye. We can see them only through the microscope. Find the midges, the mites, the blue whales are there. So there is a good amount of, biodiversity is there. And there is the simple ecosystem and lack of biodiversity, and that is the perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big repercussions. Repercussions means consequences. Consequences. So how little changes in the environment. Now, what does this mean? It means, like, for example, the population is increasing, right? Population is increasing, so that is directly proportional to the need of resources. The need of resources is increasing, but demand is increasing, but supply is limited. We are causing pollution to the nature, and because of that, what is happening? These are little things that we are doing. We are thinking that if we'll cut one tree, then what is going to affect, how it is going to harm. I have cut only one tree, we'll have this thought. But see, slowly, small things, that takes, that results in big things to happen. And for example, in Hindi also it is said, like boond boond se ghada bharta hai. So this means every drop is important, is precious. In the same manner, everything, every small thing that we are doing wrong, that is going to cause in future a big wrong. Fine. So everything has to be stopped at a first stage if it is happening wrong, right? So it will have big repercussion. Take the microscopic phytoplanktons. This is very, very important. Now, phytoplankton. So what is phytoplanktons? Phytoplanktons are the tiny, very small plants and animals, very small, right? So, and you can see the microscopic, it is added with the phytoplanktons. Microscopic, Means these plants and animals you can see under the microscope, right? So take the microscopic phytoplanktons, those grasses of the sea that nourish and sustain the entire Southern Ocean's food chain. You all have studied in class 9th and 10th. I believe that in class 6th you have started studying about food chain. Food chain, like grass is eaten by the deer is eaten by the lion and the tiger, and so on the cycle. This food chain is there. Every organism is affecting, every organism is responsible for the others food, food or the appetite also. So now see what when these are phytoplanktons are the microscopic plants and animals. So these grasses of the sea that nourish and sustain, the sustain means support the entire Southern Ocean's food chain. Means these phytoplanktons, they are responsible for the entire food chain of this place, that is Southern Ocean, that is at this place Antarctica. And these single celled plants use the sun's energy to assimilate carbon. Assimilate means absorb carbon and synthesize organic compounds in that wondrous and most important process is called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis you have studied, you know about that. So I'm explaining once again. See these phytoplanktons, these are, you can say, the grasses also, or where in Antarctica on the surface of the river. So these are responsible, they are the food, for the different organisms over there, that is in Antarctica, and they are responsible for the ocean's food chain. These single cell plants use sun's energy. They are taking the sun's energy to absorb carbon, and synthesize organic compounds in that wondrous and most important of processes, that is photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is a process in which the plants and animals, they take sunlight and they convert light energy into the chemical energy. So that is happening over there. The plants and these creatures, they are taking the sunlight and they are providing this thing to they are serving as the food for the other organism. Scientists warn that a further depletion in the ozone layer will affect the activities of the phytoplanktons. As I told you, this was very important, so just focus. As I told you, phytoplanktons, so for their growth, for their nourishment, they are utilizing sun's energy. They are utilizing sunlight, right? For their, sustaining, they need sunlight. So now what is happening? Scientists have warned that there is a depletion in the ozone layer. As you know, that the whole earth, there is a the ozone layer is there, fine. So ozone layer is depleting also, and the ultraviolet rays, they are reaching to the earth's surface. So now if the further depletion will happen in the ozone layer, then what will happen? That is automatically going to affect the activities of the phytoplanktons, right? Which in turn will affect the lives of all the marine animals and birds of the origin and the global carbon cycle. As I've told you, that these phytoplanktons, they are responsible for the complete food chain of the Southern Ocean, right? So if they will die, if the sunlight will not be there, if they will not be able to get sunlight, obviously they will not be able to, they will not be nurtured, and obviously the other organisms which are dependent on them, they will not have the food, and automatically the organisms later on, they are serving for others. So this whole food chain will be affected, right? And so what will happen? It will affect the activities of the phytoplanktons, which in turn will affect the lives of the marine animals, the animals which are there in the water, and birds in the region, and the global means universal carbon cycle. And in the parable means this short story with a message. Parable means a short story in which there is the message also. So in this parable, what is happening? In this parable of the phytoplanktons, there is a great metaphor. Metaphor, as you all know, you people have been learning, I have told you in class 11th also, metaphor, when we are comparing two things with each other. And so in this parable, there is a metaphor for existence. This is a very, very, very important line. I'm telling you, students, mark this line. Take care of these small things and the big things will fall into place. This line is super duper important. Now, what does this mean? Take care of the small things. As I've told you, when we are harming the nature, we are cutting one tree. we have started cutting one tree, at that time we should be alert that this is the first tree. And in the same manner, if we keep on cutting the trees, then that is going to affect the whole earth. So like if we'll take care of the small things, little things, then automatically the big things will fall into place. Means like nothing wrong will happen in the nature. The nature will remain clean, untouched, unspoiled by human activities, right? So this is how we have reached, though I've taken 2 extra minutes also, fine, no problem. So we'll continue tomorrow. And the